Folks, welcome into the Crossing Swords first intermission report. I'm your host, Ty B, joined again by Dwayne. The Sabres take a late lead here, tie it late here in the first period, 1-1. Jack Eichel with 23 seconds left. You go to the net, you get good results. Dwayne, how are you feeling after the first?
I said it. Jack's gonna have a good game. The Lions gonna go on an absolute heater, and sure as shit. I was correct, man. They've been pretty much dominated 5-on-5 play again. They're spending most of their time in the offensive zone. You would like to see some more defensively minded hockey there on the Rangers goal. Panarin alone behind below the goal line, and leaving Strome wide open in front of the net untouched. Gets an easy goal there on nothing really Omar can do on that. And they kept the pressure on. They didn't get nervous. They weren't playing on their heels. They kept the pressure on Shesterkin, and they finally rewarded for their hard play. Jack goes to the net, gets those dirty goals. Sam makes a great pass, and it's tied at 1.
Oh, absolutely. And that's exactly what you got to do. Sometimes you got to go to the dirty spots and you're going to get rewarded. Jack was having, a little bit of problems finishing in the first few games of the season, but he finally got that help last game, and we've seen that come to fruition. I don't like the way this team came out though early in this period. It was reminiscent of that last game, but they didn't turn it around the same way they did in that last game. It was sort of around the halfway mark they really got going, but they were just struggling to find their legs. Thankfully, Jack was able to get that goal, though. I think you feel a lot more confident after that one. Shout out to everyone tuning in on the Crossing Swords intermission report. Make sure you get in some comments, some questions in the chat. Anything you want to ask Dwayne to see him freak out. Maybe he'll go on another rant. You never know. But Dwayne, your thoughts on the start of this period, because the team just seems a little lackadaisical.
Yeah, they were a little slow start, but they picked it up there at the second half, the back end of the first period. So I'm not really too worried. It just goes to show, Dom over here making all this noise. He's like pushing his bone around with his nose. I don't know why he doesn't pick it up. But anyways, no, they really started to pick things up there at the end of the first period. Matt Irwin in the lineup again for a second straight game, looking good out there. These Lions are finally starting to click. And, again, I really fully expect the next 40 minutes of hockey to be dominated by Buffalo.
No, absolutely. I think they're going to start to really get it going again, because the way they dominated the Rangers in that last game before they shut things down in the third, it was exactly what we've been wanting to see out of this Buffalo Sabres team, as far as getting great scoring chances, playing good puck possession game, playing sound defensively, not giving up a ton of chances. And I think, they're finally figuring out the system that is this Ralph Kruger hockey team. And you saw him shouting out Ristolainen, saying he's a perfect example. I think it was something like that, along the lines of that, to Jake Watkins yesterday on that press conference.
Yeah. Again, just they're buying into the system. They're, looking more and more like a team every single game, much better than that first game we saw against Washington. Am I right, Guy?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was an absolute disaster, that first game. And, in this Mass Mutual East division, you have to be on the same page almost every single game. You can't really, there's really no room for error. It's a short season, and literally every, in a normal season when you're playing division games, they're very your division games are very important games. Well, now literally every single game is a division game. You have to get in that top 4, and I fully expect Buffalo to keep up what they're doing right now. I hope Olmark continues to play as well as he is. He looks solid in that period. Again, nothing he could do on that first goal. He's covering up the rebound. He's controlling the rebounds into the corners. The puck is sticking to him. So as long as things continue that way with him and Buffalo keeps up what they were doing that second half of that first period, fully expect a Sabres victory here.
Yeah, we got Colin in here, intern Colin. talking about the power play here, yeah, you want to bury. They've been much better on it lately, but the chances just didn't seem fully there for this team. Just not getting the puck in the right spots. I don't know if it was just the Rangers, with that familiarity. Now they're on the back to back. They know what the Sabres are looking for. I think you might see that a lot this season going forward, where on the back end you don't have that same success, Dwayne.
No, I mean you don't, but I mean those chances will come. Absolutely. Last game, I believe Buffalo was 2 for 4 on the power play, 8 for, I forget the number on the season. The power play has gradually gotten better with every single game. Darlene, and a lot of that has to do with Darlene on the back end. Control, he kind of quarterbacks it back there, and once he really starts to get going too, again he's such a offensive dynamo when he's on. I'd really expect that power play to really finally take off.
Oh, no, absolutely. And you see him getting a little bit more and more comfortable. It's tough when you're, 20 years old, trying to figure out how to power play or quarterback this power play with all these new pieces when you don't have as long of a time in training camp where you're drilling that type of thing over and over again. You're working on the power play, you're working on the system, you're working on your different rotations and your swings and different things like that, and getting on different guys' tendencies. I think that's one of the other things. And I think going forward here in this game, you want to see them revert back to that a little bit, where we're seeing that chemistry going forward. We saw that spurt there at the end of the first. Let's hope we see that continue, because we didn't see a full 60 minutes on Tuesday, even though they did get the win.
No, we didn't. But again, I do believe Buffalo did control a lot of the pace of that game 2 nights ago. And they're not a team that is it right when I say they're starting the game slow? They have slow starts.
No, they have
to be a pattern. So for lack of a better word, if that pattern seems to continue here, which again they really picked it up there at the back end of that first period. I just expect that pattern to continue, and we'll see them control the next 40 minutes of hockey.
Yeah, Dewey's somehow not in his house watching the game. I don't know what he's doing. Couldn't be on for the intermissions. I think he just doesn't want to get made fun of in between the periods, but I think they're winning right now, so who the hell knows. Shout out, Dom. Your Rangers are playing pretty well. Good game right now, but you see the analytics down there. Sabres really down on Corsi and expected goals. Got to get some better chances. Didn't have a lot of scoring chances there on the 5v5. Obviously, you get some decent possession there on the power play. Can't find the back of the net. So we're going to have to figure something out here in the second period in terms of sustained offensive play here at 5v5, Dwayne. What are you telling the team if you're Ralph Kruger right now coming out?
Just controlled time of possession. And continue to just, try and lock down that Panarin line, because that's obviously their most dangerous line. If you can lock down that top line, I really do believe you're going to come out of here with a victory. And again, special teams, you have to win the special teams battle, both on the power play and penalty kill. So if you do those two things, again, I haven't felt this confident in this team in a long time, and it just really does feel like they finally bought into a system, into a coach, and I just don't think the Rangers are where they need to be yet to start winning hockey games consistently. We had Adam Herman on from the Blue Shirt Panther on Two Goalies One Mic, along with Dami Real from Real Talk, and he even agreed they're just not ready to take that next step yet. But even though that is a very talented hockey team, they have a lot of elite skill. Lafreniere still held pointless right now, but it's only a matter of time before that guy starts going as a first overall pick.
Yep, I think they'll figure it out. The same thing with Capo Caco. Hasn't been very good at all this year, but I think they'll figure things out as they go. But looking at the Sabres in the second period, I want to see them really play with some possession, find some good passes. Don't necessarily just, turn the puck over right away. Play through the neutral zone, link up, and be smart with it. Just don't turn it over in dumb plays. And I think they'll be able to do that. We've seen that in a lot of long stretches this season for the team. But that's going to wrap up our first intermission report. Make sure you're following along at Cross Swords Pod, at Two Goalies One Mic for updates throughout the game. we'll be back for more throughout this game during the second intermission and post game with me and Dwayne. Hopefully we'll get Cats back, maybe some other special guests. You never know. So thanks for tuning in. Let's go
Buffalo.
Buffalo.